Observer's Log. This is from 60,000 light years in the midst of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Can't believe we're already here to talk about Episode 7,
Seven.
Cozine. I am one of your observers, Jay Clark, J Clark 787. Your other observer, better known as Trekkie B47, is Eric Berry.
Hey.
Good sir. Put them shields up. Red alert, real quick.
Whoop, whoop.
The spoilers.
Spoilers.
Thoughts. Episode 7.
Overall, I enjoyed this one a lot. And the reason I liked it so much was we got such an intense episode 6, right? Like, the stakes were super high. It felt like a mid-season cliffhanger almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when we think about past Star Trek series from the 80s and 90s, you know, Next Gen, DS9, Voyager, these 26 episode seasons, and like on episode 13 you get the May sweeps. Remember May sweeps? and so now in this new streaming era where the seasons are condensed to 10 episodes, your midpoint is 5, 6. And so coming off of 6, this felt like a nice, clean pause, like a refresh, like a break. A break before we start to get to some more heavy stuff. And it almost gave me like family vibes from TNG.
Interesting you said that. I picked up on the exact same thing.
Okay.
And I was like, because unfortunately for me, it's not a stinker, but it's just its placement. My issues with this episode are a lot of bigger scope in terms of television today.
Okay.
Like the episode is a great Star Trek episode. Not great, but it's a good traditional Star Trek episode. Yes, in the way of family, in the way of, you know, I had a list here of, you know, you are cordially invited.
Oh,
His
okay.
way. You know, as you mentioned, you really we're off this high. They done hit us with 3 straight episodes back to back of some good Trek, and especially the high specifically of episode 6. And it's like, okay, so like, you know, yeah, we had The Search in DS9, then you get House of Quark, okay, or you have Best of Both Worlds, then you get Family, or, you know, it's something Star Trek does, as you kind of said, all the time. It just sucks that it's episode 7 in a 10 episode. It's like, especially with the stakes that happened last week, was more interested in the right after. I am not a fan of this. We've missed a month of action. Like that rubbed. You got to know when to skip, and when to give me that moment to moment. And I think this was one of those times I wanted a little bit more of the immediacy, because you still presented immediacy in some of the way the characters were dealing things, i.e. Sam still glitching. Even the interaction between Captain Ake and Gemini, she's talking to her like, it's a shame y'all had to go. Like, it's been 30 days. This ain't your first time talking to her about this, is this? So that rubbed me a little bit wrong. But again, it's not. To me, that's the production of the things, because we have to get to a certain point, and we only have 10 episodes to do it, versus if we had more space.
And I agree with you. If this were more like a Strange New Worlds first season, where there was like 13 episodes.
Discovery's 15.
Discovery 15.
Yeah.
I think 15 is perfect for this era. 10, you don't get the wiggle room. So I felt like I agree with you in terms of they were telling and not showing, which is a big thing that I hate.
Yeah.
In television shows. Like, don't tell me these cool moments like Bobby's ceremonial service and these great speeches. I wanted to see the speeches.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we had 13 episodes instead of 10, that we could have had that immediate aftermath.
Yeah.
And then if they did this episode, I think this episode would have been placed better. Like, give me the immediate aftermath and then this episode.
And I think also because it is the initial season of the show.
Right.
Okay, if this is season 2, this probably doesn't feel as crazy or as maybe as an abrupt, like kind of like, whoa, something don't feel right here, or it's like, okay, yeah, that's a traditional Czech trope and we're all fine with that. Because it's that initial season, like this ain't just episode 7, this is episode 7 period. You know, it ain't season 2 episode 7, which is technically episode 17. This is so early, it's kind of like we're still building a lot here, and what you have just shown that you've been building and the way that you've been building to kind of put a complete stop to that, almost to an extent, was weird. But I will say, what the stuff they did give us character-wise, I'm here for. That was
100% agreed. I love this episode, but I would have loved it more if I got that gap episode. Because we're kind of like thrown into the middle of it. I will say I did like that they acknowledged that we are now in the spring semester. They did that same graphic that they did for the fall semester.
Which we guess what would happen.
Yeah. Which we guess would happen, but it's nice to get that confirmation that, okay, this is a thing that we're doing.
Yeah.
But we're kind of just like thrown into it. Like all of a sudden Kyle and Jaden are full on relationship now. You know, there's resentment from Caleb, which should have been the immediate aftermath, like you were saying. That conversation should have happened 2 weeks ago, not 30 days after.
I thought of you while watching this episode, because I remember back, I think, yes, it's episode 4. We were talking about the scene between Darum and Jaden, and how you picked up on something that I didn't pick up on initially. And I'm like, well, the way that they are playing this triangle here.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Such subtle ways. I am loving, in another conversation we had with This Week in Queer History, it's giving me that playfulness that he would talk about it, and in such a this is just what it is type of way. It's here. It's not. We don't have to necessarily shout it out, or it's not spotlight, but it's just there, and it's so like
it's subtle. It's subtle looks. It's great acting by these characters. Mm-hmm. Like Darum just looks a certain way, and you can just read all of what's going on. And there's not just one triangle here. We got two triangles.
That one too, and I love how they're not playing it in a way of it's going to happen necessarily. It's this fine line that a lot of shows don't always pull off of this will they or won't they or what kind of like.
And I'll tell you,
it could not and still work out perfectly. It could turn out to be, they could be Riker and Picard, and it would be just as. I love how it's just kind of playing. We're seeing, and there's options. Yeah.
So this was so funny because as the episode, I'm watching this for the first time with Teresa, and because we were just watching it premiere night and dinner. I will say I'm glad that we're not dealing with screeners anymore because I get to experience it like in real time with everyone else. And so I'm watching this with Teresa. This is both our first time watching this. And she's like, the moment that Genesis looked at Caleb one way, Teresa was like, ooh, there's going to be a triangle. And immediately I'm like, no, I don't want the triangle. I like Caleb and Terima. I like them. I don't want a triangle. But then I'm looking at the chemistry of these characters and I'm like, ooh, maybe I kind of want a triangle. It's crazy what they're doing with these characterization. It's so good.
I wouldn't mind if Terima don't make it out the season, but anywho, my wife had a set had a similar reaction when it was. I'll get back to that in a second. My wife had a similar reaction when we were watching with the scene between Darren and Jaden. When he's cold, they got the outfits on, which low key were some both parts killer fly outfits. And he
that's what I said. I'm like, the costume designs on this show are great.
Like, pause on the costume design. How somehow they did this? It was magnificently feminine, but also masculine outfit that Jaden, like, it was just this, like, of encapsulation. It just worked. Like, it would I necessarily step out in? I don't know, but it worked. I can appreciate it.
Speaking of things I also appreciate, goddamn Caleb. Holy shit, dude. I want to be your kind of buff.
That boy was buff.
Holy shit.
Massive. In both the scene between him and Captain Ake, again, when you saw like the
height difference
down here, and then when he laying on that chair.
But they knew what they were working with. He knows what he's working with. He's flexing. I don't know where they found this guy, but they nailed it because he can be cocky asshole just as much as Darum, but he's got this soft spot and the range of emotion that Caleb in this episode. It's not just all of this.
That's my new picture.
He's got all of this, dude.
Oh, it's I saw somebody online. They're like, "Will you just put this man in operations already? Like he don't need to be command. He needs to be operations." I guess. Yeah. I forget who I saw. I was on Threads, I think, or something. Somebody was like, "They need to just go ahead and put this man in operations." And I was like, you know what? Yeah. Because outside of
I would love. I know we're going a million places at once, but that means I'm excited to talk about this, you know?
Even a stinker of an episode to me, I'm still excited to talk about it.
You know, I didn't think it was a stinker per se.
A bad word. Not stinker. Not stinker.
No.
It wasn't
but I like we said, if there was like an episode between the last one and this one would have been a fine episode.
Yeah.
And I still think it's a good episode because there's a lot of fun things that happen. Not only are we getting a Genesis focus episode, we're also getting a Darum focus.
Well, I had a problem with that because I feel like I was like, oh, we're doing the two of them together in an episode again. Okay, a lot of my issues with this episode are production type of stuff. Like, it's not like what they presented is fine, but I was like, we're really doing the two of them in an episode.
Is there a third triangle? Because I thought Genesis and Darum were I
feel like something played with it a little bit, but no, I think there's more just a respect between them.
Yeah.
Like they also could become a Picard and Riker or
because I liked in the last one when they were dealing with the Miyazaki situation
on the bridge. Yeah.
Like when Genesis was getting wins, he was doing things like you did it, good job.
I saw somebody again on Threads. I think somebody like Darum would make a solid number one, and I'm like, you know what? I see. Yeah,
he's already in the command track.
And that would give you 2 in the command track. Then you got 2 in the operations track and 1 in the medical track. That's a good balance. I don't want everybody in team. Red.
Yep.
And then like 1 in each of blue and yellow. No, give me a good balance. Give me good balance. And
Caleb being in operations works because he could also double as security if he wanted to. Because he knows how to fight. He's lived on his own for 14 years or whatever it is. So he's like, he knows how to brawl. He's held his own. We've seen that multiple times. So yeah, I really hope by the end of this season, he goes from undeclared to operations, or he picks a division.
So, since you mentioned end of the season, my previous statement, Tarima as a whole is not serving a greater purpose as a character for me. I see her purpose for the story they may be telling.
Sure.
But I could, right now, it works for this story. I don't know if this particular story wasn't going on at this point. Do I care so much? Because she's clearly not one of the main cast people because she hasn't been around like that. So Yeah, if she serves a purpose, I'm all for, like, hey, just like Bobby, if she serves a purpose and you're forwarding the story, do what you got to do. That's just my thoughts. That's just how I feel right now.
So I really like Caleb and Tarima because I feel that they're really good together. It reminds me of Riker and Troy. Like we're seeing
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Imzadi
It's a new era
relationship,
version of that. Yeah, yeah.
and so much of Caleb's growth in this episode is through their relationship. Or like him growing, because this is his first relationship,
Yes,
and
yeah.
and I get it. You know, if we're doing the college trope storyline, first loves aren't necessarily forever loves.
Should be
Sometimes
impactful for sure. But
sometimes high school sweethearts are just high school sweethearts.
hey, girl, hey, if this a girlfriend of the week, it was always a trope back in the day on a high school show.
Right.
Girlfriend of the week. So
But part of me is like, I really like what they established for Caleb and Tarima. She really grounds him and gives him a new sense of purpose.
yeah.
And you really see that in this episode when he's crafting that actual recording that he sends to her. It's really from the heart. It's some amazing acting by the actor.
As you mentioned, that boy's hitting the range of a lot of stuff. And I think
My
we
God,
see
just in
one of
this
the best episodes where we
episode.
see that range kind of
Yeah.
demonstrated throughout. Yeah.
So there's a lot that this could go, and we've been talking a lot about Caleb and Genesis, but the Durham storyline and Jaden, I love how they set that up.
That there's such a again that fine line to try and hit with some of these things. And like I said, I love that it's there and it's clear. And I don't know if
But
overt is
could
the
it
right
have been
word.
the whole episode?
Well,
That
no,
could
no,
have
it's just not. It's that's how some folks complained, which I think even we sometimes feel like was like Discovery, for example. They feel it was rammed down the throat. It was like shouting, "We're doing this." Whereas here, it's natural. It's there. It doesn't feel. I guess maybe overt is the word, but it doesn't feel like over the top. It doesn't feel excessive. It doesn't feel
it
like,
feels
hey, we're trying to
natural.
make a statement here. It's just we're. This is the story. These are
And
the characters, and
I
this is where
saw
they're going.
I saw an interview with the actor today where there were scenes that were cut with
So
in the
you can
script
tell. You can tell.
with him and his parents.
Okay, good. They filmed it at least. Okay.
I don't know if they filmed it, but it at least was in the
It was
script.
planned. It was planned.
It was
in a way.
planned.
Okay.
But here's the thing. So the actor was saying that yes, there was a relationship, there was more scenes with his mom. Like we get their perspective. But despite the fact that they cut it, the actor was still happy with how the episode came out because since you only see them from a distance, it just reinforces what they already established, that they're standoffish jerks and only want him to succeed for them to succeed. And I can see that, but in the moment, it was weird. All we see is them give a look. There's no speaking lines, and he goes off with Jaden, and that's it.
Both stories. Again, and this is like I said, more concerns about the production side of things, how they presented it. Both stories feel like they could have each been flushed out a little bit more to be deeper on both parts, because they're both what we're learning about Genesis and Darum here is important. It's some good character stir work, but it feels a little rushed because you're trying to do both at the same time, and then two,
both
like,
deal with parent issues,
like
they're daddy and mommy daddy issues, which they talked about.
They're not surface level at all.
But when are we going to see her dad? This would have been a perfect time to at least show him.
Her daddy better be a Kirk-like figure. And I'm not saying I'm not saying, but in terms of like
in terms of like legendary admiral
like
status.
you've done some stuff.
Yeah.
Because the way they talk about this man and relationship, and he don't seem like just he's just an admiral in Starfleet. No, like this is an admiral, and for them not to have revealed a name or
not even a name
details about why there's got it. I'm trusting the show as we are right now on its way to its end to do something with that. And that's I think that's a good place to leave for this week because, like I said, it's not my favorite of the season so far,
right?
But it's still very Star Trek. The work they do with it is good. It's just production issues, but I'm still trusting the show. Like
right.
I will judge it properly, and we will judge it when we look back after we have all 10 and can see, okay, yes, this worked because they had to hit these people wherever they land up, or it was like, okay, no, they could have done a little bit more here and flushes. We'll get into that once we have the whole picture. They're still painting it, and they got 3 episodes left to paint.
And for our listeners, we're gonna do an overall, 60,000 light year.
What we
do for this season. It's just doing this week to week. Is great because I really like the energy of this show, and there's great things about this episode that feed into that energy. Like I thought the whole warp slug bit was hilarious.
I could have done without that.
And anytime I get to see more Tig Notaro as Jet Reno is great.
I will say this though, some of the complaints about the language I have not been feeling until this week. They were using shit like every other scene. I was kind of like, okay, this once or twice every now and then, okay. But like there was at least like 4 or 5 different shits dropped in this episode. And to me, I was kind of like, that's not exactly Star Trek. Like, I think it works occasionally, but it was like to that, it was like to where I picked up like, wait, whoa, what number is that this episode?
I don't think it bothered me as much because at the end of the day, I still know that they're kids. They're not the refined Starfleet officers. And I think a lot of the complaints I see from, the standard chuds is like, oh, well, they're not, why are they dressed like this? That's not respected Starfleet. Or why do they do this? Why do they do that? I'm like, they're still kids. And I always love Captain Ake's line where Caleb is like, God, why does everything here have to be a lesson? And she's like, it's a school, Caleb.
Particularly, she calls it out this week. Here's the lesson, kids.
It's blatant. And I'm like, no shit. It's a school. And I love that. I love that. And she was great, even though she wasn't in it a bunch. Like, I really like that kind of reprimand in the last.
Well, the second thing I can see people getting reinforced here, them folk talking about the feet issue.
They even called it at
the big toe thing was like here you go. It
was like this in the camera. It was like, hey, hey. It was like right here. It was like this. It was like, oh my God, my toe. But also the joke when she's packing the suitcase and he's like, you have 3 pairs of boots. You barely wear shoes.
Well, she's there with no shoes on. Yeah. Okay.
But see, that's the kind of self-referential humor that I like. And it almost feels more like a live action Lower Decks in a way, in the terms of humor, of natural humor. I don't think people are used to like much humor in Star Trek because there's always been humorous like Star Trek episodes, like, oh, this is the funny Voyager episode or this, but I don't think people are used to like just natural humor in a Star Trek story.
I'll save this for our overall review.
Okay.
Because I hope it lives up to this, but I think one of the things I like about Academy is that it seems to represent the best of the things we liked from New Era Trek, like the best of this, the best of this, the best of this, the best. This
I feel like they finally learned their lesson.
Yeah, we'll talk about more of that.
Okay.
Hopefully I will be able to back that statement up
Stick
as they
the landing.
Stick the landing. But this is from 60,000 Light Years. We appreciate you joining us as we reviewed episode 7 of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Thank you for any time you have joined us. Join our crew, subscribe, like, share with fellow Trekkies. Hey, post your opinions in the comments below. We welcome them. And in general, what we do is we take that 60,000, that faraway view, check out some of our other work. We've looked at every series of Trek so far, from TOS up through Lower Decks. We're just enjoying Starfleet Academy right now before we rejoin our regular duties. But until then, we'll catch you next week as we check out episode 8. Yes, please, stick the landing. Until then, next time, you, good sir, and everybody out there, live long and prosper. Sarcastic Vulcan salute.
Peace out. Peace and